Do you guys ever think about how, with companies having so many layoffs, the expansion they go through where the labor that they need is supplied by AI or robotics? At least for me personally, I can't help but think about how, when I think of the meaning of capitalism, the way that I was taught capitalism is supposed to be, and I know I mentioned this a long time ago, it looked like capitalism was the most preferred form of business and economy because it ensured that there's innovation. The whole point is that you are resolving problems where you don't sacrifice the quality of your product and you also maintain prices low enough to where it's attractive to the consumer. But something I keep hearing about that I sincerely don't understand is the so-called stock buybacks and how a company can purchase their own stocks back, and that's how, in part, their profits just keep shooting up in a crazy way. And I have confessed to you guys that I never learned about how stocks work and how investment works in general because in my mind, I cannot conceive how money just works by itself. And I know that is a misconception that I probably have, but I'm just telling you that the way that it has been defined to me and what I have been able to observe on my own, I just don't get it. Because to me, money is not a living, breathing entity that has legs and therefore can show up to perform a task. And the task is what has value. And that's why you get paid to perform tasks. And on top of that, I also like to think about how companies are not living, breathing entities. Yet it is possible for a company, not an individual, a company to own land, own assets. It's not, say, at work. I don't see a name of a person attached to the assets that we have. I see the name of the company. But somehow I feel like companies, remember, non-living, breathing entities, they're not humans, they end up having more rights than real people do. And somehow a company can get you to abandon your home, you, a person living and breathing who needs shelter. A company can, of course, represented by people, can get you evicted. It's no longer a landlord, is an actual individual, a person who you can actually talk to, reason with, hopefully, and all that. This is a company, and it's represented by a person who is, of course, detached from anything because it's not their company either. But there are individuals who do have power and earnings, but yet they are attached to the company. Like, for instance, when I hear about billionaires, I'm constantly seeing people discussing how it's not like when you see a net worth of a billionaire or even celebrities who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, just hundreds of millions of dollars, they say all of that money is not just sitting in their bank account. It's assets, properties, yada yada, businesses, yada yada. And I go back to this. What is the point of all that? Accruing so much capital that you're hoarding for yourself, but you see how it's establishing a gap from other people. You live in this planet, you drive on the same roads, hopefully, unless there are some hidden tunnels that we don't know about. I'm totally inclined to believe that, but breathing the same air and all that, but somehow such a wide gap can exist. And the thing that I find most appalling is that somehow these big companies are allowed to take ownership of other companies with different names, and ultimately it's like they're the ones who get to make decisions and call the shots on other companies. And when you think about it, this is no longer competitive, because if one company can have a say in other companies, whether it be 51%, 55, 60%, then can there truly be competition? Because at this point, I don't see why you would need to care that other companies are failing. And the one example I can think of most vividly is airlines. I don't know about you guys, but I come from a time when we used to have United Airlines, Continental Airlines, US Airways, American Airlines, JetBlue, and I'm forgetting the name of this other one. Anyway, Spirit, Southwest, airlines like that. Some of them are regional. But you noticed how somehow bigger companies were allowed to merge with each other? Like, I think United combined with Continental. And I'm like, okay, so those were our main national airlines. I rarely see Alaska planes, but I know they can come out here too. But I'm like, how is it that in a capitalistic society where competition is supposed to drive innovation and ensure that we don't have monopolies, why does everything feel like a monopoly? The new people we have hired, I curiously asked them where they come from. They have done other lines of work, but some have also done retail, but in other places. And essentially, they describe that it's the same thing, it's the same dynamic. The only difference is your uniform changed, and I guess your pay or benefits may be a little different here and there, but at the end, everything is the same. So I'm just saying, to me, companies feel like they're becoming unaccompanied because of automation and AI, that type of thing. But I also feel like they're becoming unaccompanied when it comes to what it actually means for that company to exist, the symbol that company holds. Like, if you were looking for, I don't know, a symbol of health and nutrition, you probably had a brand that would come to mind, and that brand was pretty much reserved. You just knew that that was their focus. You were not really suspecting that they had a hand on other things. I guess it's no different from fast food restaurants, like how one brand may own other brands that are supposed to be pretty big, but they're dying, and now they're under this giant brand's umbrella, but we never hear the name of the parent company. We only hear the name of the other brand because we're used to the name of that brand. But it doesn't matter if they succeed or fail. With retail, it's pretty much the same thing. There seem to be like 3 different brands, but out of those 3 different big brands, you know that there's one investor that invests in all of them, and they may invest in a majority. Like, they may hold, I don't know, 40, 50, 60% of the shares or stocks, whatever you call it, owning the piece of that company. And with that said, it just doesn't feel like you go somewhere where there's innovation. When it comes to retail, I understand that retail is about the consumer having access to stuff. What could be innovative from that place? To me, growing up, I just knew that if I need something or want something, I gotta go drive somewhere to get it. Never as a kid did I expect or yearn for something like, I really wish that I could have them bring stuff out to me. I really wish that I could have this stuff delivered to my house. I feel like those were problems that some people maybe were facing. Like, for instance, people who are disabled, that's fine. Or maybe you're in a time crunch, that's fine. I think that utilities like that should have been reserved. But now it's something that all of us pretty much indulge in, and I feel like it lost its, I don't want to say appeal, but I feel like it lost its utility, because now a lot of people are demanding a service like that so much that now what existed already, say me as a kid shopping with my parents and grandparents, my experience as a shopper, someone like me who what you teach me for the first time, that's all I retain forever. I'm not a good unlearner. Now I'm watching how the shopping experience keeps evolving, and they're pushing for fewer employees, more automation, more AI customer service, and stuff like that. And somehow I'm told that I'm supposed to be happy and celebrate. That is happening because that way my time can be used up doing something else somewhere else. And then I ask, okay, what am I supposed to do? I cannot indulge in my hobbies because my hobbies don't pay me, and the bills are a real thing. But I'm told that, okay, maybe that'll free you up to pursue an education and have more real skills. And then I think everything ever is a skill. Anything that you're able to perform is a skill. Everything has become an invented problem. And that's why when I talk about it here with you guys, I look like I'm continuously resisting and refusing to embrace the change. The reason being because I don't see how this is innovative. I sincerely don't. And the more I try to research and ask and drink the Kool-Aid, I just don't get it. I just don't see it. All I see is more isolation. And when it comes to your performance as a worker, a human, real, living, breathing, it's all down to so-called metrics. Like the number of keystrokes you have per hour is evaluated. How long your computer is on standby is evaluated. And I'm thinking, you can find the answer to those metrics by simply using your eyeballs and observing me. What am I doing when my computer is on standby? It's as if I'm cleaning. It's as if I'm getting carts. It's as if I'm taking baskets around. It's as if I'm sweeping the floor. It's as if I'm assisting a customer short as fuck reach something on the top shelf. Yada yada. But somehow you are driven more by the computer metrics that another computer feeds your computer. But then, is your computer telling you what I'm doing when I'm not interacting with that fucking computer? And the next thing you'll probably want to do is attach to us an electronic to monitor our steps. Why would you need to do that if you have human foremen who are supposed to be overlooking you, and they can report on that and make decisions on that accordingly, instead of, no, y'all have to react to the result of these metrics that we impose and we come up with without us having the skill or experience of our own. We're just establishing this as the standard that you must follow, that you must comply with and deliver. And like I said, I just don't get it. I don't see innovation. This so-called order things online, I see it as, how is that different from ordering a pizza over the phone back in the good old days, like decades ago? Is it because you can handle a higher volume? You can serve more people, therefore that is a real problem that you have to resolve? Okay, I can see that, but I just don't understand why it has to be so invasive, why it has to be so exploitative and continuously be mining your data. A data that you have never asked me if I'm okay with surrendering to you, but yet you can take that data and sell it and make money off me on a completely different transaction that I'm not a part of. To me, after having said all that, what I find most appalling is the people just like me from the streets, average just like me, who somehow defend that. Somehow you are okay with these disparities. You are okay with these imbalances, with this disconnection, with these gaps between one group of people and another. Again, same planet, same streets, same air, everything. Somehow we're able to be separated by these entities that are not even living or breathing, but yet we put so much energy and focus and effort into evolving those things, improving those things. We put more effort into improving those things than we do improving ourselves. Our attitudes are shit, our bodies are shit, our health is shit, and here I am, like soothing myself with freaking sweets. And that break of discipline is a result of us participating in these evolutions that aiding these entities to prosper when they don't even return anything for us. It's not like you can really dream of having the house anymore, because now the house that maybe you would have tried to buy is now owned by a company as opposed to owned by a real family, a real person. Here in my area, I keep seeing places being torn down and reconstructed, and those were homes owned by real people. But somehow, whoever is moving there, They are able to tear down the whole house and rebuild it, but then this house that is being rebuilt is looking the same as another house that's a couple blocks ahead. So I'm thinking that maybe these people are dying, or maybe whoever inherits that property cannot afford to maintain that property. Therefore, it gets auctioned off somehow. And then companies, non-living, breathing entities, are the ones that have the capital to buy the home and buy the property. And now it's owned by a company that's going to permanently have ownership of that piece of land with the house. And now you're going to forever be stuck paying rent if you decide to move there. And that's crazy to me. Like, you're not even owning much of anything anymore. You don't even own movies anymore. Like, if you pay a streaming service, they can take things out of the catalog, add things to the catalog, and sometimes the catalog is not even accessible because of tech issues. And yet you're supposed to believe that you do own the access to those things unlimited, but anything can disrupt it and you're not compensated for that. It's not like, oh, you experienced a disruption of service for some hours, therefore, I don't know, let's take $5 off your bill or something, or maybe 75 cents off the bill or something, just anything. But you as a consumer are never appeased. But if you give them an inconvenience, say via a delayed payment or something, they have to be appeased in the form of you paying late fees. Can I charge you lack of service fees? And that's what I'm saying. How can anyone out there, average, just like me, broke, just like me, sit there and defend some of this? There are people out there who will do that, who will justify and defend the business models of these businesses. I'm just telling you that to me, that is crazy. In the same manner that maybe you think it's crazy that I don't believe in this stuff and I'm not convinced by it, and that I find it incredibly harmful, incredibly toxic, and I don't want to be a part of it. I have to be, but my mind is not there. And I feel like a lot of people also feel that way, which is you serve, you show up, you deliver, but your heart is elsewhere. Is that the sign, the symbol, the definition, the representation of a thriving society, a thriving economy? That's what I'm questioning here. Like, what is the point to everything that we're doing if we're not truly proud of what we're doing? We don't truly believe in what we're doing. We're doing it out of commitment, out of fear of being in the streets, pretty much. So anyways, you guys, I thought I would ramble about this. This is not particularly anything new that I have expressed here, but I'm just saying that after all this time, since whenever the last time I revisited this matter, I still feel the same. And I keep trying to look up things, ask questions and research and observe and everything. But I feel like the more I dig, the more my beliefs are reinforced. So I think this is not doing me any good, except maybe closing my mind more to change and acceptance and embracing all this. And maybe that is what perpetuates my negative thinking tendencies, which is, why can't you just be positive and have faith that everything will work and everything is for the better and stuff? And I'm like, well, because I only see how we keep losing more. For instance, why is it that retirement age has to be even higher now? Why is it that I don't get to own a home? Why is it that I don't get to take vacations that are meaningful without being open to getting into debt for that? What? Why is it that I don't get to have health care? And why is it that I have to have what is bad for me more easily accessible, say being cheaper, than what is good for me? The healthy things being more expensive. Anyway, that's it for me. Bye.